When a pendulum is swinging through the water, at any given instant it'll be at some position x being a function of t, and it'll have some velocity v, the velocity being a function of t. It will experience a drag force in the direction opposite its velocity. Moving in this direction, it has to move water out of the way. The water pushes back, and you get a force that I'll indicate F sub drag. Okay, and that force is we're going to assume for the moment that that force is negative c times v, some constant c times v, and in the direction opposite v. And we'll notice that this force F drag is itself a function of v. Okay, so we have our function x of t, our function v of t, and our function f drag of v. Left the a out of drag, but you can identify what this means. Okay, now if the pendulum did not have the drag force, of course, then we would have net force on the pendulum of negative kx. But now that we have the drag force, F net is going to be negative kx, and we're going to have to add in the drag force, which is negative cv. Our F net is nothing but the mass times the acceleration. So we have mass times acceleration is negative kx minus cv. We solve that, and we find that the acceleration is negative k over m times x minus c over m times v. Now acceleration is just a second derivative of position, so that can be x double prime equals negative k over mx, and v is nothing but x prime, so we have c over m times x prime. This equation, turns out, is a fairly easy equation to solve. We can fairly easily trick this equation into a solution. Now, if we had a slightly different form of the drag function, and let's just do this over here. If F drag of v was equal to, let's say, negative cv squared, then it's fairly easy to see that, well, we'd have a square on the v, we'd have a square on the v, we'd have a square on the v here, which then would give us a square on the x prime. And we would have the equation x double prime equals negative k over mx minus c over m x prime squared. So as we're going to see later, this equation is easy to solve. This equation is difficult to solve because of the square on the x prime.